Good morning, everybody. So we're now on Article 1, Section 8. This is Lesson 8 for the Constitutional Minute. This is a little bit longer section, so bear with me, okay? Section 8, the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. So in other words, it's got to be uniform, right? It's got to be equal no matter where you are in the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes, to establish an uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States, to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures, to provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities current coin of the United States, to establish a post office and post roads, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their prospective writing and discoveries, constitute tribunals inferior of the Supreme Court to define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations, to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures and land and water, to raise and support armies, but no appropriations of money to that use shall be for the longer term than 2 years, to provide and maintain a navy, to make rule for the government and regulations of the land and naval forces, to provide for calling forth the militia, to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrection and repel invasions, to provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively an appointment of officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. The exercise exclusive legislation in all case whatsoever over such district, not exceeding 10 miles square, as may be secession of particular states, and the acceptance of Congress become the seat of the government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature and the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all law which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested in the Constitution of the government of the United States or in any department of officer thereof. So that gives you exactly what Congress is responsible for, right? So they're responsible for taxes. They're responsible for raising armies. They're responsible for the militia. They're responsible for the Navy, all of the armed forces, right? So you got to look at the way and naturalization, right? So we're talking about people moving here legally, right? You move here legally, lawfully, and you want to become a United States citizen. Congress determines what those steps are as far as how the naturalization process is. Okay, let's see. Also, for high crimes on the seas, right? So piracy, that used to be a big thing. There's still piracy, but most of the piracy that we see nowadays is over in the Horn of Africa, and whenever you go over there, you'll see a lot of piracy there. But as far as around ours, that's why we have a Coast Guard to quell a lot of those kind of issues, right? So also erections of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, i.e. post offices. That's another thing they're responsible for, right? Post offices. So there's a difference of public lands, right? So public lands are like the Forest Service. That's a public land. That's lands that we're afforded. We can go to. Those are lands that are ours, respectively, as citizens of the United States. Now, when we talk about an enclave is something that the federal government owns, respectively. For instance, a fort like Fort Bliss, those are owned by the federal government. Those are federal exclusive jurisdiction and not public lands, right? So who has jurisdiction over them? The federal government does. Post offices, federal jurisdiction. Those are bought, they either bought for or they're federally leased. Those buildings are respectively federal exclusive jurisdiction. So in this lesson, what I want you to do is I want you to tell me in Article 1, Section 8, the duties, what exactly is Congress responsible for as far as taxes, stuff like that. Explain to me what that is, and we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a good lesson because it's Article 9, and we'll go into habeas corpus and some more stuff tomorrow. But tell me exactly taxes, how it's supposed to be equal, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. It's always great. Tune into the next Constitutional Minute. God bless.